you've talked about with us in the past on the Random Thoughts videos about the three pillars of Arisen Strength: support, encourage, celebrate. I wonder if you go ahead and talk a little bit in depth about those, how they're going to work together, and what you mean by support, encourage, and celebrate.
Yeah, what is the idea is to, like I said, support, encourage, and to celebrate. The idea of support is there's a few different ways of doing that. The first is to acknowledge that what it is that someone's going through is what it is. I mean, it had an effect to where it did suppress that dream, that talent, that capability underneath it. And so we acknowledge the fact that what happened was real, and it had an effect. So the other way that we support is that we're going to bring some ideas, some workshops in a way for us to learn with each other, with each other to how to make things different than what they are right now. In other words, we're going to turn the thought in a way. In other words, we're not going to be suppressed. We're going to learn how it is in order to take all that darkness and all the bricks off of that particular dream, that talent, or that capability, and we're going to make it so that we'll give you a different idea of how to do things. There's a number of different ways of doing that. It's we're going to have some workshops as to where we have different talks with special guests that we have lined up, where they're going to show us what it is that we do as people who have either been in trauma or situations as to where they found themselves to be depressed, and to suppress that dream and that talent. And the reality of the situation is that we're going to talk about some subjects that are literally the lock and key to someone's dream and talent that they don't even realize yet. We're going to talk about some subjects that are going to be tough to talk about. They're not going to be easy, but they're going to be necessary for somebody to get a different result. The definition of insanity, always was a big thing with me, as to where, you do the same thing and you're expecting a different result. Well, when we're in that situation as to where we feel broken, I know that I did. For me, there's been many a times where I've hit bottom and things just busted apart. And you know what? I've always had the ability to be able to take what was busted apart, put it back together, and move on, right? But the thing is that I was never able to process what it is that had happened to me. I never really acknowledged it. I never really did the support part. And therefore I never learned to do things differently. And it took an event that happened with me in 2012 is to where I actually was suicidal, and I came to that conclusion to take my own life. And as I did that, the result really had an effect on me, physically as well as mentally. And this time, when things fell apart, they fell apart in a different way. They fell apart, they shattered. I mean, if you can picture like a mirror or a piece of glass and just absolutely shattering into so many pieces that it's not possible to put it back together. In fact, there are pieces that are missing. And what happens is that I don't have that piece that I need, and what that did is it totally made me non-feeling. It made me existing. It made me to the point as to where, I'm not here to enjoy life. I'm not here to be happy in life. And, But the bottom line is that that actually was a blessing to me because it allowed me to take the time for me and with the help of others to be able to bring back that piece that was missing and in actuality bring me to another puzzle that really turned out to be something that was miraculous. I happened to be in a situation as to where I felt as down and out as I possibly could. I was desperate. I was worried because I had a 20-year career in medical billing and consulting. I wasn't going to be able to do that career anymore because the medical field changes every day, but they make changes every quarter. And so when that happens, and I'm out of it for 3 years, that's a lot of days, you know. So I'm sitting there and I'm literally worried out of my mind. What is it that I'm going to do for work? What am I going to do for a living? And I'm automatically catastrophizing. I'm automatically thinking I'm not going to have a better average paying job because my education is not that much further than high school. That's credited. The most of my education in life is self-taught, and so I was really concerned with this, and to the point as to where I was very frustrated. And I remember being in a group in intensive therapy, and I was in the group, and I said, you know what? I'm not supposed to live life and be happy in it the way that I want to. I think that's the thing. And then I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to use my experiences to help another. Well, I didn't mention this part. Since 2011, I've not felt my heartbeat. Now, don't get me wrong. I knew it was there, but I haven't felt it. I used to feel that. I used to be able to know that I had a heart that was beating and that it was impassioned in what it is that I wanted to do, day in and day out. Since 2011, where things started going wrong, I didn't have that. And on this day, when I finally said, I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to use my experiences to help another, all of a sudden I get this. It was a baboom, you know? And it wasn't anything extravagant. The sky didn't open up. There wasn't any rays of light coming through the window or anything like that. It was just simply baboom. And as that happened, it was very poignant in my life. And I realized that my higher power was literally talking to me saying, you're on the right path now. And so what I decided to do was I was going to write a book. I decided, well, I'm going to write a book. Well, I got gung-ho, and if anybody's ever written a book before, it's the easiest thing to start, the hardest thing to finish. And so I got all gung-ho, and I got going on in chapter and chapter, and then next thing you know, I hit a wall. And you know what? I wasn't very good at what it is that I was doing at that time. I really didn't know how to make things correlate with the other chapter and the other chapter. And I was getting really frustrated again. But I didn't want to lose faith. So I said to myself, okay, maybe writing a book isn't the time right now. Maybe I'm supposed to do something else. And well, I decided I was going to write, and all of a sudden I realized that there was a presentation there. And when I say a presentation, I mean one that was to launch a speaking career, of which I started last year. And it was to the point as to where the idea was from a patient's point of view. And as I wrote that speech, I've written so far I've written two 40-minute speeches, two poems, and the start of a book in 1 year's time. So I came to realize there's something going on that's not just Shane Schultz, you know. So and it was the way that it was going on. It was a gradual improvement. It was a gradual excitement, and as you can see tonight, we launched this. We launched Arisen Strength. And also the affiliation that we have now with JGF, Joey Giggles Family Foundation. So we're really been pulled in the right path that I believe is the way to go. So, that brought me to the point as to where I know that there are people that are just like me. I know that there are people that have had things happen to them that are not fair, but they are a fact. And whether it be that they've been blindsided by life, whether there might have been a tragedy, maybe a passing of somebody that they know that they just could never get away from, the feeling and the loss that they had, or maybe it might be an injury. My uncle, he lost a thumb in a work-related injury, and he was devastated for a little while, and probably still is. Or maybe it's just maybe it's an illness, a mental illness such as depression or PTSD or whatever the case may be. I know that there are more people out there that are like me. So this is just another level of taking that purpose and making it a reality. And that's what this is all about.